All right, today we're going to unroll a map, but it's not a map to a place, it's a map to a spiritual journey, and it was drawn up almost 500 years ago. It's a book called The Path of Muhammad by a 16th century Islamic scholar, Imam Birgivi. So let's dig in and see what kind of timeless wisdom it might hold for us today.
You really have to ask yourself, why is a book on ethics from the 1500s still required reading in major universities all across the Islamic world? What is in this thing that gives it such lasting power?
Well, the answer, right from the text itself, is that this isn't some dry rulebook. It's more like an invitation. The whole idea is that real faith, real love, isn't just something you say, it's something you do. It's an act of love that you show by trying to imitate the character of the Prophet Muhammad. See, it's a path you actually walk, not just a set of beliefs you recite.
Okay, so let's start our journey. Part 1, the call to the path. We're diving into this ancient guide.
So, at the very heart of this book is a concept called the Tariqa al-Muhammadiyya, which just means the path of Muhammad. The big idea is that by studying and, really trying to adopt the Prophet's character, anybody can go on this incredible quest to refine their own character. This is all about active self-improvement, not just passive belief.
Right, on to part 2, meeting the guide. And this is so important, right? Because if you're going to walk a path, you first have to get to know the guide. His character is literally the blueprint for the entire journey.
The book just paints this amazing picture of his manner. He's described as the most generous and gentle person, often shy, and just deeply, deeply compassionate. And you get this incredible sense of what it was like to be around him. The text says he would stay silent for long stretches, and then, when he did speak, it was as if a light emanated from between his teeth. What a description.
And then there's this portrait of his humility, which is just as powerful. He'd eat with slaves, he'd help with chores around the house, mending clothes, cleaning, washing. No job was beneath him. His own bed was just a simple straw mat, so rough that it would leave marks on his side while he slept. It just goes to show, his character wasn't just in grand speeches, it was in these small, real, everyday actions.
Now, this is a really interesting detail that shows a specific ethical principle at play. The text says he would always accept gifts because he saw them as a sign of affection between people, but he would always decline alms, charity that was meant for the poor. It's this beautiful principle of dignity. You accept friendship, but you refuse to take from money that's meant for people who need it more.
Okay, part 3, the central challenge. So we've met our guide, we understand the path, now we face the biggest obstacle, and that's the battle against our own ego.
Imam Birgivi points out a few key internal enemies, and one of the biggest ones is envy. But look at how sharp this definition is. It's not just wanting what someone else has, it's the specific toxic wish that they didn't have it. The book frames it as a destructive spiritual sickness, something that literally poisons your heart. And to make this internal battle really concrete, the book lays out this fascinating playbook, the 7 temptations. Check out the strategy here. It starts with a full-on attack. Try to steal your faith completely. If that doesn't work, it switches to delay tactics. Then it tries to corrupt the good deeds you do manage to perform, tempting you with pride. And finally, the most dangerous one of all, it whispers that none of it matters anyway. It's like a step-by-step psychological assault on all our best intentions.
So how do you know if you're actually winning this battle? Well, the text gives us these super clear behavioral signs. On one side, you have arrogance, always having to be the center of attention, feeling embarrassed to do simple things, needing to be right all the time. But on the other side, you have humility, making friends with the poor, working hard at any job, and living simply. These are like the external symptoms of your internal state.
Which brings us to part 4, walking the path. This is where the rubber meets the road, where that inner state has to translate into outer action.
And that raises a really practical question, right? How does that inner struggle actually show up in our day-to-day lives? Well, according to Imam Birgivi, one of the biggest battlegrounds is our speech. The tongue is seen as a direct pipeline to the heart.
So the book gives us this incredibly clear discipline for how we use our words. On one side, here's the forbidden stuff, lying, gossiping, arguing just for the sake of it. But on the other side, here's what's recommended, speaking truthfully, kindly, and, this is a big one, knowing when to just stay silent. On this path, controlling what you say is a huge, huge part of the practice.
And that leads us to our final section, part 5, the destination. After all this work, all this effort, what's the actual goal of the journey? Where are we headed?
The whole book kind of builds up to this one central question. After you've battled your ego, after you've refined your character and your actions, what's the ultimate achievement? What does the text say is the highest possible form of worship?
And the answer, which is a quote from the Quran, is just so profound. The highest form of worship isn't an action at all. It's a state of being. It's to become one of a people whom He loves and who love Him. The whole destination of the path isn't just about following rules. It's about arriving at this place of pure mutual love between you and your Creator.
And that leaves us with one final thought to take away. In our modern world, with all its distractions and complexities, how can a spiritual map that was drawn in the 16th century still offer us any real guidance for 21st century life? It's definitely something to think about.